Hello, hello. It's been a while, but upon request, we're back, right? So I just want you. Come on. Just you. Just you and me, right? Just want 10 minutes, right? I just want 10 minutes with you. Let's have a conversation. Is that fair? Hopefully that's fair. I won't be too terrible with you. But today we're going to talk about the importance of suffering. Seeing as it's midterm week for myself and I'm running on I don't even know, like 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep, something like that. Drink 2 cups of coffee and couldn't fucking fall asleep. But great time to talk about one of the things that I'm most grateful for, and I think that is absolutely most important to, live a live with yourself on the knowing how the reality of how life works, and life is in a large portion of it. There's a lot of suffering. And I think a lot of people, especially in America and, where you're at, is you don't always experience. You can kind of keep yourself, in a bubble, and there's safety in that bubble, and there's comfort in that bubble. And what you'll notice is that the longer you are in a bubble of that comfort, you start to get a little detached from reality. Your understanding of other people, you'll be able to connect with other people. It's not as strong. It's really honestly not as strong. The more that you can be, you know, exposed to either other individuals that are going through some shit, whether you love them or, you just get to see the reality of how other people live, people that are not living in sunshines and rainbows. It's humbling and it keeps, one grounded. And that is probably the most important thing about suffering is it keeps you grounded, you know? I say you don't really know what kind of person you are until one, you're either on a way too much of an edible, right? Or you're really getting grinded against the gears to a point where you feel like you're gonna break, you know, emotionally, whether it be, feeling suicidal or depressing, or just, feeling lost, you know, suffering the sense that you don't have direction. It's a very difficult thing, but there's so much reward, I promise you, in going through that, in suffering, knowing what kind of person you are, knowing when you are pushed to want to crack, to have, maybe the tendencies that are the least favorable from your own personality want to come out and be able to still keep control, and not let those things come out and to just keep pushing forward. And I'm not gonna sit here and be the one to bullshit you like some self-help coach. I don't have any time for that garbage. But you know, I I went through a childhood that my father, like I've said before, like the conversations we had, verbally abusive, alcoholic and stuff like that. And it's really strange because I would never wish any of my hope to have, right? Knock on wood, children in the future to ever have to go through something like that. But in the sense, it's just strange to say is that there was value that I gained from that I hold on to because it's helped me be so grounded and to help other people and be able to talk and have conversations with other people. I truly believe people that have suffered in some sense of a degree, obviously hopefully not emotional trauma that you can't, have conversations with people, but it allows you to be on a wider plane of being able to just talk with people, be real with people, and relate to people, right? We've talked previously on how we don't want to trauma bond with people, but if you have suffered, if you have been to that breaking point, especially if you have friends around you that were there to support you, the importance of them being able to help you out. And then when they're at that point themselves, being able to help them out because it, it's kind of like in a car crash, and you won't understand it until you've had it, but time slows way down, and you remember it very clearly. In a car crash, everything slows way down, and you just take everything in, and you remember it, right? It's the same thing kind of like when you suffer to a large degree, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, slows down, and you can remember that moment, you know, pretty clearly. And the people that were there, how you felt, um, and that sense of dread that you experienced. And being able to hone in on that and absorb as much as you can from that moment and just take from it is like, shit, this is pretty fucking awful, right? I don't want to be here. And if I don't have to be here, I'm going to do a crawl my as much as I can to get out of that situation. And I think people that live easy lives don't understand that. And I think they try so hard to, you know, almost want to understand that and understand how people that have gone through that, but just as I related earlier, you can't. You can't unless you have, in some way, some fashion, suffered. And some of my closest friends, all of them have suffered, through losses, through hardships, through just upbringing, abuses, feeling depressed, feeling suicidal. And, I trust them because I know who they are, because I've seen them when they've suffered. And I don't trust anybody that I don't know who hasn't suffered, because I don't know who they are until I've seen them when you've suffered. So the importance of suffering is it puts you in a place that you remember very clearly. And it's one hell of a motivator to either fall apart and feel sorry for yourself, or to use that, take it all in, and to push yourself to something that's so much better. And I feel like people that have not suffered in that degree do not have that drive, that motivation. The people that have suffered do. Um, and it's such a beneficial thing to being able to use the suffering that we have went through to, relate to other people, connect to other people, help other people, because we've been there ourselves, you know? There's suffering that is necessary and there's suffering that's unnecessary, right? We have a situation that the way out is clear, but we're just not doing what's best for ourselves, then that's unnecessary suffering and that's not productive at all for a person, right? You know, nobody should inherently look to go out and say, I want to suffer today. Maybe if you want to physically exercise, so be it. That's great suffering. That's great for the mental and physical health. Um, but definitely not saying in an unhealthy situation that serves no benefit for long terms, right? So you have to be mindful of, am I in a tough situation right now? I am. Okay, cool. Being able to express yourself immediately to everybody in your support group and your friends to be able to help you get out of that. But being able to absorb it like a sponge, because it's so absolutely beneficial for that when you do get out of it, and you will, that you use all the lessons you learn from it. And the more times you have suffered in that some degree, those are more lessons to be able to learn and then help yourself and help other people and to really grow as a person. The most growth I think a person can have is not through acing a test, not, doing well at your job. I think the most growth a person can have is being put in a situation that they don't want to be in and they suffer terribly and then they get out the other side. And I think if you can get out the other side, it puts you so much apart from other people, and there's benefit from that. You might not see it in the moment, but there's benefit from that. So if you look at the time, it's been freaking 10 minutes. I know. I told you I'd be here just for 10 minutes, just for 10 minutes, just you and I, right? So I hope we had a good conversation and hopefully I was able to help you out. Maybe next Tuesday, all right?